a local top player who plays Zangief. It's gonna ask you a few questions. First off, what have you been up to lately and any new projects or games?
I've just been, funny enough, mostly been working, so I've been trying to get Street Fighter in whenever I really can. It's been hard. That's been like a real tough balancing act for me right now, but yeah, mostly just that, working Street Fighter.
Okay, that's fair, honestly. It's a hard to balance, not gonna lie. What first got you into fighting games?
So I was in summer school in high school, and my friend came up to me and he goes, "Hey, Street Fighter 4, this was during EVO 2015. Street Fighter 4 is on sale on Steam right now. It's $5. Do you want to get it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get Street Fighter 4 with you." Like I've watched Street Fighter for a couple of years, but I never like really played it. So me and him bought the game and we started like competing against each other. And I'm naturally like a really competitive person. Like I always want to be like beat my friends and stuff. So like even when he would stop playing, I would go and like try to find other people who were good at the game and like grind with them and stuff so I can get better to beat my friend. That's sort of how I got like started in the community.
That's fun. It's always fun when you can play against your friends and then, kind of be rivals together and grow together. And now tell us, we already know, but who do you main and what do you like about this character?
So I play Zangief. I've been playing a lot more Marissa this season too.
Oh, yeah.
But Zangief, so it's a funny story why I play Zangief. It was back during Street Fighter 4. I matched with this streamer, and he played Zangief. So as a joke, I picked Zangief against him because I didn't play Zangief at the time.
Okay.
And I took a round off him,
Wow.
right? And then I was like, I'm gonna get good enough to beat this guy with Zangief in the mirror match. And that's sort of like the story of why I started playing Zangief, and he kind of just like stuck with me ever since that day.
Wow.
What I really enjoy about him is the gamble aspect. I like that he's a high roller. You get those really cool like crowd moments too. Like when you're playing, you hear the crowd like blast off behind you. Like that stuff is really, really awesome. That's what I really love about the character.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty scary, honestly, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you can really feel like, I'm gonna say this word, but his aura, like when you walk at opponents, you can feel them like, oh, he's getting closer. I really like that part about him, just the natural fear that he instills in people. I like that.
That's crazy. Intimidation immediately. Are you excited to try any of the new characters?
Alex looks pretty cool. I don't really care for Ingrid. Sagat is cool. I'm not gonna play him though, that's not my style. And Sea Viper, I'm really interested to see how they translate her because she was like the most technical character in 4, and this game is way less technical than Street Fighter 4. So just seeing how she transitions will be cool. But in terms of actually playing, I'll probably give Alex like a little bit of a shot just because, grappler.
For sure. Okay. For tournaments, how do you usually get ready? Any routines?
So I don't have like a set in stone routine. I just make sure I sort of have like my essential items with me. Like I have to make sure I have my coffee in the morning, and I always make sure I carry gum with me because gum I think is a very underrated stress reliever when you're playing a tournament.
Yes.
Just having something to like chew on and like physically remove stress I think really helps in a tournament setting.
Honestly, I've never heard that before, but I agree for sure. What do you find tough about competing in tournaments?
It's just a grind. It's an endurance test. You're here like all day, you're standing, you gotta sit down. Maybe the setup doesn't have audio. There's all these conversations happening around you. You gotta stay focused. It's very mentally taxing tournaments. That is the hardest part. 80% of a tournament match is just mental, right? Because not everyone who's playing in a tournament is playing at their best. They're nervous, all these other factors going on. Maybe they didn't get sleep the night before, maybe they didn't eat. There's so many different factors that you don't know about. So that's probably the hardest part about playing tournaments, just being mentally set for the event.
Very true. I agree. Do you have any goals you're working towards for tournaments?
I did a lot of my goals right now for Street Fighter 6. Like I've already won a couple tournaments. I was on Street Fighter League. I'm going to EVO for the first time this year.
Nice.
In terms of like tournament goals, I wouldn't say I have any direct ones right now. I'm just trying to always improve myself and be better. And the byproduct of that is the better results, I would say.
How do you stay calm or deal with nerves in the time to play?
You will never not feel nervous is the important thing to remember. Even the best players, when they're playing on that top 8 stage, they're nervous. Even if they look cool, calm, and collected, they're nervous, 100%. You just have to sort of embrace that and remember that that guy's feeling that too. You know what I mean? No matter what you're feeling, that guy beside you, that girl, whatever beside you, they're feeling that. So it's just part of the experience, and you just kind of have to run with it.
Honestly, I feel that all the time, not gonna lie. But it's good to hear that everyone's feeling it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about where the FGC is right now?
It's really cool. Like the way that Street Fighter's taken off, especially in Japan, is really awesome to see. Like the scene is constantly growing, bringing new players. Every event I go to, I see a new player, which is something in Street Fighter 5 like I didn't really see as much. But in Street Fighter 6, like it's really cool to see that like there's another generation under me. Because in 5, that was almost one of my concerns about was like, okay, if I stop playing, there's no one really after me that's coming in, right? But Street Fighter 6 has sort of reintroduced a bunch of new players. Well, that's really cool to see.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. What do you love most about being in the fighting game scene?
Just the community. Like my favorite part of the event is going and seeing people. You're like, hey, well, I haven't seen those people in years, dapping them up, getting to recap, connect with people. That's the best part about the scene for me. Always has been and always will be, is the community.
For sure, I agree as well. What advice would you give to someone who's just getting into fighting games?
Don't be scared to go to a tournament. Like everyone has gone 0-2. Even your favorite player, they've gone 0-2 before, even if it was 40 years ago like Daigo, he's gone 0-2, okay? Everyone has, it's part of the journey. Don't be afraid to talk to people, ask for advice, make some friends, go out to dinner with people after, you know what I mean? Just don't be afraid to get involved, and I don't think you'll regret your decision.
Thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Hey y'all, we're back and we have an interview with top player Misokrattz. So first off, what have you been up to lately? Any projects or games?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on something that's pretty fun. So I draw also, right?
Yes.
So aside from playing Street Fighter, I've also been working on a comic.
Nice.
So it's going to be original work and everything like that. So hopefully it's going to take a long time, but that's what I'm doing. So, yeah.
Can't wait to see. I already follow your art. I love it. I love especially your Zeku stuff.
Oh my God, I know I need to draw him more again. I miss my guy.
Me too, me too. What first got you into fighting games?
I used to watch them a lot, but like I guess when I was really young, I have two older brothers, and they used to drag me to arcades. I was the youngest at the time, and then I used to be terrible at them, obviously. But they used to play, and it just kind of always had that in me to be like, oh yeah, I know Street Fighter, and like that was supposed to be Street Fighter 2. And then I taught myself by myself, which I was proud to play Alpha. So that game always has a special place in my heart. Street Fighter Alpha 3 is the one I taught myself, but Alpha 2 is just, I love both.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Me too. I love Alpha. For everyone who doesn't know, who do you main and what do you like about the character?
So in Street Fighter 6, I main JP. And I don't know, he's like stylish. He's like deliciously evil, you know, in like a way that he's a gentleman. But I love this play style, the way you're controlling. He gets to slow the game down when it's really already crazy and super fast. So I love that control, zoning, but he can still, like, he's just really capable. But he's a great character overall, yeah.
Super intimidating, honestly.
I know. Ooh, and he's cheap. You can't go wrong with cheap. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Are you excited to try any of the new characters?
I did pick up Terry because I also love a lot of SNK games. I used to play Terry in KOF, so
Nice.
I picked him up. But at the moment, I'm not going to pick them up. But Viper?
Yeah.
I mean, look at her.
I know.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her in the game. So for her, she's the one for that whole new season I'm very excited for, yeah.
Same. I cannot wait to see how she plays.
I know.
What do you find toughest about competing in tournaments?
A lot of it, I find the most important part is like I get nervous. So it's always getting over that initial first game. So when you're like, oh, I don't know, did I practice enough? It's kind of like a little mental thing. But then it's like once you get past the first game to me, then I'm like, okay, I'm chill now. So it's always that first game. But I think for playing, it's always kind of being like, was I ready beforehand? Because a tournament is just like the results of your practice. So, and then, you know, usually when I end up losing, I was like, you know, I really did need to know this matchup better or to learn to switch more aggressive. So the hardest part really is actually the prep work, which is funny enough. And it's just time to show up, so.
For sure. Actually, do you have any routines for tournament prep?
In general, I will just at least try to get games in early because depending on the setup, it's like you'll just want to feel it out, be like, okay, and then get used to it. But in general, I would just like to play a lot of different matchups when I'm at home actually beforehand. So that's usually how I kind of set myself up for it.
Okay, that's good. Do you have any favorite memory or moment from a tournament you played in?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I went to Evo Japan.
Nice.
What year was it? Oh my God. It was 2 years ago. And it took really long. And I was like doing pools for like so many hours. But then I had to wait like a lot of hours for like, it was to make it out of your pool, right? and I was playing against this player named Igus III. He's a Japanese player, and he was a really good Karin. It was Street Fighter 5, so I guess it was like, what is it, 3 years ago?
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the last year of 5, and I was using Zeku. And then why I loved it is I ended up winning, so it was good, but he was really good, Igus, and we follow each other on Twitter now. But what I loved about it was the crowd behind me was like really cheering for me, and it was in Japan. I was like, oh wow, like, and then lots of people at the event were coming up to me being like, wow, oh my god, like, you know, and it was so nice. But the best part was I found out because somebody told me, what's his name? Oh my god, I'm blanking. But he streamed it, like one of the Japanese players streamed it, and he was watching, and he was so energetic. He was cheering for me, and like, he got so many views on his channel, and people were showing me, and I was like, oh my god, it was just so nice. I was like, oh, Japan was great. It was
amazing. That sounds like a great memory.
It really was.
How do you feel about where the FGC is right now?
I think it's wonderful. It keeps growing, and you know, the top players are getting bigger prize pools, so they can keep doing this, and they're going to keep bringing in more people because there's going to be more great matches. So honestly, it's in a wonderful place. There's a lot of new games coming out. These games are getting support that they deserve, and I think it's wonderful. It's growing, and it's just good to see.
Yes, I agree. Last question. If you had any advice to give to someone who's just getting into fighting game, what would you tell them?
My advice would be, honestly, to just start doing it, because I feel like there's a lot of hurdles that people worry about, because it's obviously very community oriented, so people might be shy or what it is, but I feel like it's up to us too to kind of get people to be comfortable. So if you're new, play whichever one you think looks cool, and pick whoever you think looks cool. No matter how hard people tell you they are or weird the character is, always pick who you think looks cool. That's the end, period. There's no other story. Pick who you think looks cool, play the game that you think visually looks cool, and then when you enjoy it like that, you will just learn naturally and get better, and you'll meet people that love it too, and you get excited, and that's really what you want. So definitely just get out there.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. Thanks for talking with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey y'all, we're back, and we have an interview with Drew today, local talk player and OG.
Oh no, not top player. I'm terrible.
Oh, come on, don't be so shy. First off, what have you been up to lately, and any new projects or games?
In terms of games, I've been playing like a lot of roguelikes recently.
Nice.
Rogue Genesia and a bit of a Super Robot Wars, which is like a tactical like RPG game.
Cool.
But man, I haven't competed in a while, and I'm so doo-doo.
Oh.
But in terms of projects, I've been working on like a lot of like other like on top of the FGC like events. I've been working on like Valorant, Rainbow Six, Fortnite, so that stuff. So it's been pretty cool. And Rocket League.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What first got you into fighting games?
Well, I was a lonely kid, and I wanted to make friends, and I loved Street Fighter because of my grandpa.
Oh, nice.
My grandpa always had a Super Nintendo, and he will always get everyone to come over and play the cousins on Street Fighter. So then, to make more friends, I figured, why don't I play Street Fighter as a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
And I went to a weird internet chat room called IRC. It's like the old school Discord.
Okay.
And the worst part was, no one was my age. Everyone was like 25, 30, 40. And I grew up really fast. And yeah, that's how I made friends. But it was cool. And now, like, as each new iteration of Street Fighter comes, I'm starting to make more new friends, and they're around my age. So it's been pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. What's your favorite fighting game and why?
I generally love to play Street Fighter. Street Fighter Alpha 2 is my favorite, just because, well, I love the sprite, and the OST is amazing, like the soundtrack. And then on top of that, like, it was the first game on GGPO, so I had to play it. Even though I loved Super Turbo at the time, it was the only game that was available with like good netcode in like 2007. So
Okay.
yeah. Hey, shouts to the Ponders, the Ponder brothers. It was illegal, but they got it working.
That's awesome. Are there any new characters you're excited to try out?
I'm happy to see my boy Sagat.
Oh, yes.
I'm really happy to see how he's implemented the game, and I want to see how Sea Viper looks and plays, and Ingrid, because I've been a bit of a Street Fighter lore nerd, and I'm excited to see how Street Fighter 6 reinterprets her for the game.
Yeah.
I'm not excited for Alex, though. All those Alex players are scummy. All of them are fucking scummy. You can bleep that.
Oh my gosh, okay. How do you generally get ready for tournament?
So early on when I was younger, I would always get super nervous because I treated it like it was like some prestigious thing. As I got older, I realized I'm just meeting all my friends, right? So I got rid of the nerves that way. I treated it like one giant casual where, yeah, there's some stakes involved, but I still get to play my friends and meet them, right? So I've kept that mentality for like the last 10 years, and it's been pretty good. Can't complain.
Awesome. I have not heard that answer like that before. It's a good mentality to have.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm old enough to figure it out, right?
Yeah, for sure. Would you say you'd have a favorite memory or from a tournament that you like treasure to you?
Man, one of my favorite memories is actually seeing my boy SJ. He getting a third at Canada Cup or fourth in Canada Cup, being like Justin Wong in Marvel.
Yeah.
It was so cool, and I was really proud of him. That's one of my favorite memories. My other favorite memory is seeing a Chirili win against Dominion.
Yes.
Both of those guys are my friends, like Dominion and Chirili, but it was so cool to see like a top Canadian player just do really, really well and be that humble and awesome, you know? And on top of that, to do it against like a really strong opponent like Kevin Landon, Dominion, it's so cool.
Yes. I'm glad that Canada's getting more like a spotlight now.
Oh yeah, dude, we just saw like Ottawa, like Friesa, the Jamie player beat Daigo, and then Zykos just beats a Kimberly player. He's really good too.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, he beats Strider 8-1, and Strider's been the top player since I was playing Street Fighter 4, so it's crazy. It's crazy to see.
How do you balance training and practice?
I mean, to me, they're both the same. It's always good to take breaks. Always treat it like almost like a job. Like you can't really treat it like it's like, oh, the more time I put in, the better I'll get at it. That's not really how it works. So you gotta take breaks. You gotta make sure it's healthy, and you gotta make sure your mental health is healthy. So you shouldn't really play all the time and stuff like that. You should like just take some breaks, enjoy life. There's more to life than pressing buttons. Good.
Yeah.
So that's how I took it, and it's carried me pretty far. So I made a lot of good friends that way too. Good drinks. Good times.
How do you feel about where the FGC is right now?
You know, like, so after Street Fighter 4, I became a T.O. in Street Fighter 5, and I saw the scene kind of die. And especially after like year 2 or 3 of the game. And then now we're in like year 2 and close to year 3 of Street Fighter 6, and it's bigger and healthier than ever, and I'm really happy because like now we got awesome cosplayers like you and artists like me, other artists, and I see all around the room. And also really, really awesome, young, talented players. And it's that's been the most enjoyment I've ever had in the community because it's like, I wish, when I was a kid growing up, I wish it was this big. I wish it was like this exciting, full of people who not just play the game good, but they also like do have other skills that they can contribute to the community. And now they're getting highlighted too. It's been pretty cool. So that's my favorite part, just seeing, if you love fighting games in any avenue, to see that being showcased on a crazy platform and also like just it growing and being there, it's insane to me. 'Cause I remember we didn't have any of this.
Yeah.
We were playing in the bottom, like I remember one of the tournaments I first played, we were in like the bottom of like a pool hall playing in the kitchen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like that's where they had to put us. So now we're here like convention centers, big like arenas, and just a lot of people loving Street Fighter, and it kind of shows that the whole world kind of loves fighting games, you know?
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that too. And last question, if you have any advice to give to someone who's just getting into fighting game, what would you tell them?
Well, first, don't play for anything but to have fun and improve yourself, because if you start chasing like the fame, the glory, you're gonna start to lose yourself, and you're gonna start losing the fun of why you played, right? So that's my biggest advice for anyone. And if you know you can't really play a lot, but you have like another skill, like being an artist or a cosplayer or a creative or like a event, into event management or like a production guy, there's room for you here. We've made those opportunities. So like if you love fighting games and you know you can't play it, like there's other ways to show that you love fighting games too and contribute as a member. And so don't ever be scared of that too. So those are my 2 advices.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Hey y'all, we're back and we have an interview with Haunted Child. We're just gonna ask a few questions. So what have you been up to lately? Any new projects or games?
I mostly just play like fighting games, obviously. Like I play Strive mostly. I play Tekken. I play Street Fighter more recently because Elena came out, and a little bit of Uni 2. And then I also play Monster Hunter Wilds and Legends of Runeterra. I played that too. For projects, I'm actually trying to make my own music. Most recently, I want to try and make a 4-song EP by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What games are you mainly playing right now?
So I've been trying to play mostly focus on fighting games and stuff like that because I want to try and play tournaments, and it's just more fun, I think, to try and take those games seriously. And I just like competitive games, specifically fighting games, because the way I think people express themselves through characters and stuff like that. So fighting games has been my main focus recently.
I love that. I'm a big fan as well. What first got you into fighting games?
I would say Super Smash Bros. Melee. I remember being pretty young. I think I was maybe grade 3. So what was that? Maybe 8 years old, 8 or 9, whatever. And I was playing with my cousins. They were much better than me because they had the game, and I was obsessed. And then I waited till I can get my own. Played it a bunch with my friends, took it super seriously, and then in high school I went to my first tournament for Brawl. And ever since then, I think I tried to play more and more, but my friends didn't really play traditional fighters. So it wasn't until I met someone at Anime North a couple years ago that we kind of bonded over playing fighting games, and then we've been playing more recently ever since then.
Okay, that's really cool. So tell us, who do you main when you play fighting games, and what clicks with you?
Honestly, I feel like a character that I can kind of connect with and actually like for Tekken, I play Asuka. I like her because I just think she's kind of a cool, tomboyish kind of character, and her play style is kind of interesting. It's defensive but very hard hitting. I think her story with Lily is very cool and cute. Ino, she's a witch. I like to dress like a witch, and I kind of witchy aesthetic stuff, and I like rushdown characters. So Ino's a rushdown witch. I really like that, and she plays music, and I play music. So that one was obvious. And then for Elena, I think it's just one of the coolest black characters to me. She's just a very happy-go-lucky character that loves nature and animals, and I kind of like nature as well. And her playstyle is also pretty fun in Third Strike, so I like that immediately.
Awesome. I love Third Strike and Elena too, and I also really love your fit.
Thank you so much.
Well, what do you find the toughest about tournaments and competing?
I think the toughest part is that at least for me, I can say that you don't always see the results of your practice. So for me, the journey was kind of I put a lot of expectations on myself to get better incrementally over time. And I think myself and a lot of other players I see complain about seeing results and stuff like that, experience this thought process of growth should be linear, but obviously that's not true. Sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down, and sometimes you're you plateau and you get stuck in spots where you don't know how to get out of. And just because you're going O2 consistently doesn't mean you're not getting better. Every OT is not necessarily the same, and even just whatever the result is shouldn't dictate what how good you are. And then also trying to remove your self-worth and how well you do. That's been a thing that's been difficult for me, but I've been trying to slowly get better at it.
Yeah, that's fair. A lot of people I find struggle with that. But as long as you just keep positive, and as you said, even though you're going 0 and 2, I feel you take 1 step forward and sometimes it's 3 steps back.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. There's been times where I took a really bad or I took a loss where I thought I could have done better, where I dropped combos, or I just didn't understand the match because I hadn't played enough or played that specific matchup enough. And even though my friend was trying to console me and say hey, those good games, in my head I kind of turned on, I was I don't think that's true. I don't think I did play it well. So it was very difficult to I think take a step back and just remove myself from the game and be I'm not as bad. Being O2 doesn't mean I'm a lesser person. I'm just learning. So losing is a part of the process.
Agreed, 100%. Do you have a favorite memory or moment from a tournament you've been to?
The only thing that comes to mind is just meeting new people. I've just each time I've met a new friend has been really nice. I went one of my closest friends that's here with me today at an Anime North tournament. I also went O2 in that tournament, and one of my controllers didn't work. But I have a friend since 2 years ago, and we're really close. So and we kind of made our own kind of community where the 4 of us play together. So I wouldn't have that friend and those other friends if I wasn't for fighting game tournaments.
Oh, that's so nice. This is the last question. What advice would you give to someone who's just getting into fighting games?
I would say try and figure out what your goal is. So for me, my goal was just to get better and probably place like a certain amount in tournaments. So like my goal this year was to like not go O2. So I think like once you set a goal and then figure out what steps you need to take, whether that's like looking at videos, playing with friends. I feel like playing with friends is one of the biggest things that you can do. Like at least one friend that kind of like motivates you to like get better, like is like the biggest thing you can do to kind of like motivate yourself to like go to tournaments or play fighting games more. Because if you're playing fighting games just for the sake of like getting a rank, I feel like that's not a bad thing necessarily, but you end up like caught up in like this very results based scenario, whereas like playing with a friend, like you guys are just trying to get better. That's not really as toxic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more like a friendly like rivalry.
Exactly, yeah. And then like I feel like I only get better when like I have another person that I'm like striving to compete with, and then we're teaching each other. We're also like sharing like, oh, we both did bad at this tournament, but like, you know, we can kind of console each other and stuff like that. So I find like playing with friends is my big number one, and then 2, set realistic goals. I guess that's what it boiled down to.
Awesome. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey y'all, we're back and we have an interview with Grand Pastor Jay, who is wearing an awesome JP cosplay. First off, what have you been up to lately? Any games or projects?
Yeah, so really I've just been trying to go to any majors or locals that I can. I have a good amount that are in my state in New Jersey, which is one of the strongest regions in the country.
Nice.
I haven't been able to go to much lately because I'm like go job, and plus I'm getting transferred to a different department, which is more of a promotion if anything. But now that everything's settled with that, I'm gonna try to go to more tournaments, and whether like win or lose, try to get as much games in as much as I can. Because I've seen people like kind of hesitate to go to tournaments because like they're new to a game or they don't want to lose. But it doesn't matter what your results is. You want to go to actual in-person events because that's how you get better and meet people, so they can also teach you to get better, and they're more than willing to teach people that ask questions and such.
Awesome, and congratulations on the promotion.
Okay.
What games are you playing the most right now?
So in terms of fighting games, I've been mainly playing Street Fighter 6. And maybe one-off at times I'll go back because I originally competed in Smash during 2017, 2016 when Smash 4 came out. I started it when I was at Rutgers University. I started playing then, and then as time went on, I went to Ultimate, and then after I graduated, I started to go more towards fighting games, and specifically, I played different fighting games like BB Tag, Fighters, Tekken 8, Grand Blue. Like I played a bunch of fighting games, but the one I'm sticking with is Street Fighter 6. So I mean with that, but I'm trying to get my feet more into Grand Blue now. And in terms of like outside of that, like just regular other games, I've been playing Mario Kart with my friends, trying out different other games that's been coming out as of recently, get my feet wet.
Do you remember the very first fighting game you played?
I guess if we want to consider it, Smash Bros. Smash 4 was my first competitive fighting game that I went out to actually compete and play. I did the whole thing like with collegiate, did locals around where I was at Rutgers. At Rutgers, we hosted tournaments because it was a whole club/organization involved with it, Scarlet Smash. And over time, I even became the vice president for it too. And a lot of my friends, especially who's here, Action John, who is pretty much the reason why it's even the club is even standing for as long as it is right now. But yeah, that was technically my first one that I really went out to compete in. If I was to go like FGC fighting games, I think it was Cross Tag. It was basically Cross Tag. That was my first.
Nice. So what actually got you into fighting games?
I don't know, because I think even before I started, before fighting games were competitive in a nutshell, I just played any game that you threw at me, even if it was a fighting game. There wasn't that many people I played with, or if they weren't near my level. So I was kind of just playing it alone or just doing my own thing. But then when I went to Rutgers and started getting involved in Smash and meeting people that were like-minded as me, playing games like me, and got engrossed into that community, it started, I guess, at first I started just me doing it just for the heck. Hey, I played a game. Other people playing the game. Why not compete and see what happens? And then over time, I started to really enjoy it, good with the bad. I still overall just love spending my time with people like-minded like me, playing fighting games, enjoying them, growing, and just getting involved in every sense. That started with Smash, and I'm glad I'm able to venture out more into something like Street Fighter or other fighting games, because it's really different than just the traditional platform fighting games. But even though it's like a bit of a curve, I'm still glad that I went through with it anyway, because I met a lot of incredible people who do this.
Oh yeah, that's so awesome. You have like a really varied background, different types of fighting games. So who do you main, and what do you like about the character?
So I guess for like the main game in Street Fighter 6, I main JP. And granted, the only reason it had nothing to do with whether or not he was good. It had nothing to do with that. Like I just wanted to play him because he just seemed really interesting with all of his moveset. He has like, it seems simple as just, zoning somebody with like the spikes, the ghosts and all that, but there's a lot of intricacies to it because at first, when the game first came out, you would see people just using it, spamming that, but over time you see there's not that many JPs, and that's because like once people figure that out, you have to be more creative, and I like that creativity that he provides with his gameplay because it goes more than just the portals and the ghosts. It's like setting situations up, utilizing all of his resources to get as much damage as possible. And if you see some of the crazy stuff that Japanese JPs use, as well as one of my close friends, R&B, who's the best JP in New Jersey, you really see the true capabilities of that character, and that's why I wanted to stick with him and unlock that potential myself. Plus his outfit too, the drip. I can't, like, come on.
Yeah.
I just vibe with that too much.
Honestly, the drip is really serious. That's what draw me into your cosplay immediately. I've never seen a JP cosplay before.
I've seen them do the outfit 1. I've never seen them do the outfit 2.
What do you find the most tough about being in competing in tournaments?
This is going to be a really loaded question, but the best way I could say it is like one of the hardest parts, and this goes for many competitors, a lot of people, I've seen it, I've experienced it myself, is that fear of failure. It's the fact that you feel like you put all this time into playing and then you don't get the results that you vibe with. And I've seen people get so frustrated, so angry about it, and people like say like, oh, why you get so mad about a game? Like, you get so mad and stuff like that. But it's like, it's the same way as if you were playing basketball and you lost a game. It's the same way as if you played football or soccer or anything like that, or volleyball, especially if you played those team-based games and it was your fault that y'all lost. Think about that. That's the feeling that people get when they lose, especially when they invest so much time and effort into it. It's like any other competitive sports game, anything like that, it's the same mentality. You want to play good. When you don't, it's defeating. It really makes you feel like, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. And that's one of the toughest things to really get up after that fact. That's really the toughest part, but you have to do that. There's no two ways about it. Like, no one's born perfect. You're not going to play this game perfectly. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. It happens, and it sucks. Trust me, I'm not saying this with the idea of like, oh, it's going to be fine. It's going to be all right. No, that feeling of loss is going to suck. You're going to get pissed. You're going to get mad. There's no two ways about it. But what's important is that you realize, okay, it happened. This is a one-time loss. It's what it is. You just got to walk in knowing that if I lose, it's what it is. But I want to do my best. That's what you want to really, not so much to win, but just go in there wanting to do the best you can do.
That is really good advice. And just the last question. If you have any more advice to give someone who's just getting into fighting games, what would you tell them?
Start slow. Like this, start slow, play who you like, who you enjoy. You don't have to worry about the technicality parts or anything like that yet. Just play who you like, who you enjoy, and if you get a vibe with them, go all the way with that character. And also, if you're looking to improve, go to locals. Because there's only so much playing online, playing ranked can do. You want to go to locals because there's experts there at those locals who could, especially if there's character specialists, there's your wealth of information right there. They can give you resources, they could give you direction. Hell, they'll even play you if they got time for it. And they'll direct you on what you want to do to get started. Hell, some of them are even could coach you. Maybe for a price, or if you know them personally, they'll just coach you on their own time. But definitely going to locals, and also if you want to really, really improve, like especially if you need to compete forward, like moving forward for the long term, if you can, think that's what the whole loss thing, we're getting back up. You have to think, why did I lose? What did I do that was a mistake? Watch VODs of top players, of their character, what they're doing in bad situations to extend combos, how they get themselves out of, like if they're in like the corner, or how they keep converting, keeping pressure on individuals, ask questions at locals, play people at locals, experiment. It's a lot, and it's a lot of work involved, and especially with muscle memory and like clicking, but trust me, when you actually get results and you get that first one, if you're first starting off, it's transformative, and you just want to keep getting better and better. And again, these tournaments aren't going to just go away. You have all the tournaments, all the time in the world to get better, and just don't be afraid to lose, play to win, and overall, like the most important thing is enjoy yourself.
And thank you so much for that advice, and thanks for your time.
No problem, anytime.
Hey y'all, welcome back, and today we have an interview with Eurostep Sam. We're just going to ask you a few questions. What have you been up to lately? Any new projects or games?
So as for me, I've been, trying to do my best to go to locals as much as I can. As of recently, I've been kind of doing a lot of fighting game related things recently, so I've been just trying to stay as active as I can, just so that way I can keep myself like up to date with like the newest balance changes, Street Fighter 6 for example, or other games. So I'm more in the scene. So that's been what I've been doing lately, just getting better at the game and just learning more about the balance patches. So yeah.
And what first got you into fighting games?
I would say probably playing Street Fighter 4. Definitely like getting back into that like the groove of things, especially like a throwback to Street Fighter 2, which I grew up playing when I was a lot younger, for example. Yeah, right. Like a lot of Capcom collection and different accessible ways to play it back then. So Street Fighter 4 definitely got me into fighting games a lot. Like gave me the itch, I would say, to like learn more about it and like see how deep it can get.
And what's your favorite fighting game right now and why?
Like currently it's probably Street Fighter 6, I would say, just because I'm like, again, like I'm the one always actively like entering those tournaments and whatnot. Like there's other games I enjoy playing too, like Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves is good too, and Third Strike obviously I enjoy participating in whenever there's the chance for it. But Street Fighter 6 is like what I'm always watching and like learning about when it comes to that game in particular. And it's again like it's so this has time since release as well. So there's that.
So in Street Fighter 6, who's it you maining right now for people who don't know?
So right now I'm maining Blanca as my character. I definitely played as different characters throughout and main different characters, but Blanca's the one I feel like is the most gameplay wise similar to my favorite playstyle. So I'm enjoying him so far, and I'm enjoying it as well, like learning and seeing how far he can go because he has a pretty tall ceiling, I would say, but definitely entry of level, like good for any playstyle, like beginner or intermediate or so on. So I feel like he really suits me, and he's really fun to play as Street Fighter 6.
He's really scary to fight against, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's actually why like I kind of switched to him, because I used to play as Marissa, but I had a hard time in the Blanca matchup, and it's like one of the worst, I think, character-wise. It's one of Marissa's worst, I feel, and I just was like, let me learn this character, and then I'm like, oh, he's fun too. Why don't I just play as him as my main, and then it kind of went off from there.
And how do you usually get ready for tournaments?
For getting ready, like obviously I play as much as I can. I play friends as much as I can online if I can, like so I can socialize and ask for feedback. I also try to mellow out by like meditating too, like if I can, because I feel like it's so stressful to be in a tournament. And obviously we've been around different players, even if they're friends, like they're not playing the best, they're on tilt, and it's like their emotion show. So I try to meditate before tournaments, doing breathing exercises and whatnot, so I could just like contain myself and compose myself, and no matter how stressed I am or however I'm feeling. So that's usually like my routine beforehand. Usually I try to see like if I can or can't do commentary, because at least if I am doing commentary, I feel like more people that don't care about fighting games are more interested in watching. Like at work, for example, like I told some of my coworkers I do commentary for fighting games, and they're like, oh, like I didn't know you like talk about, because I'm not myself at work compared to how I am in like outside of work and whatnot. So like they are really surprised to see like how social I am and how much I know about like different things, where I'm at work I'm like much more professional and less like this, for example, so I feel like I just try to do my best to like again keep myself involved, and at least doing commentary for me, like it gives me a reason to like learn more about the game, so it helps me with like matchups and stuff like that too. So, and again, it gives me more eyes on the game, and like I have a reason to talk about it, and like even get feedback from a co-commentator who like teaches me things too. So it's kind of like this endless part of like learning about the game and just seeing how much I can do in the moment and even beforehand with the routine. So yeah.
So how did you get into commentary actually?
That's a funny thing actually, because like it kind of happened during the pandemic. I was doing some volunteer work for the cognitive brain therapy stuff. I was doing volunteer work for people with like epilepsy. I have epilepsy and like depression and anxiety. So when I was doing it, I was doing like the guided meditation stuff, and a lot of the feedback I got was like, oh, you should do like podcasts, or you should do like this or that, like you have a great speaking voice. So I said, well, if it's a pandemic, and like I used to play before for a long time, but I never thought about like educating and like doing something with my voice in the scene. But I remember there was like, I think it was XBO, they were hosting tournaments a lot, and I was entering every week for Strive, Guilty Gear Strive. And then I think one of the people actually, I think Spooter had stepped down, like commentators. So the one who was actually in charge of it was just doing it by themselves. And then in the Twitch chat, like I remember when I was watching and participating in the tournament, they said like if anyone wants to help out, just send me a DM. And I asked if I could do commentary. And then they sent me a DM back on Discord, and then they said like, oh yeah, you could just start doing it next week. We could do it together. And then that's how it kind of went from there. And then I asked Russell. I've known Russell since like Super Street Fighter 4, like 8 arcade edition. So I asked if I could do commentary, and then I already had like a resume. So then from there on, I just started asking and reaching out to like organizers if I could do commentary, and then the more I started doing, and because of the back catalog from the pandemic and even streaming a bit, like I had kind of expertise in like getting over most people's obstacles when they get into like public speaking and stuff. And also the background of me doing like theater work before, I think really helped me like feel comfortable like talking in front of a microphone or a live audience, I guess you could say too, which is definitely the most nerve-wracking part, I feel. But
Oh yeah.
it's you kind of get through it, you know.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, what do you find toughest about competing in tournament?
The toughest part, I feel, honestly, is it sounds, I don't know if it's easy to understand, but it's like learning from your own mistakes, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's hard to really know, like you kind of reach a ceiling, like you kind of plateau a bit, and it's hard to really like kind of see what you did wrong in fighting games, unless you're playing on stream, but then otherwise it's kind of tough to know what you made a mistake in and how quick the games are, right? So and it's hard to practice those sort of things, and then that kind of in turn can make it harder to come back, but what always makes me feel better is like at least, you know, making connections with people and stuff, and like, you know, seeing them and hanging out with them and whatnot. So but I feel like the hardest part is like, you know, learning from the mistakes that made me lose the rounds and stuff like that. So that I feel like is the hardest part, yeah.
For sure, and especially you said the rounds go really fast,
Yeah,
so
certain
it's
games,
hard.
right? Yeah, like I just mentioned Strive like earlier, but like Guilty Gear Strive, those games can last like really quick, like really fast.
Yeah.
For example. So
Do you have a favorite memory or moment from a tournament you played in?
the one that always stood out to me as like one of the earliest memories was when I went to Toryuk in 2017.
Nice.
Because it was the first like major event I went to, and I had to play Chirithi,
Oh.
and like he was the first person I had to play against.
Oh my god.
And obviously, me saying that name and your reaction, I had to play against him in Street Fighter V, who obviously played as Chun-Li, and I was playing as Birdie. So like knowing that and knowing how big of a name he was, I like literally asked folks from local like Chun-Li players to like teach me the matchup, and it went down. I beat him one game, he beat me one game, and it was the third game, first to two. So it was literally the final round, and like I was really close to beating him, and like it was literally like I remember like we were just poking each other like in neutral. And then he got like a crouching medium kick and a lightning legs into super, but I was looking for like standing medium punch into bull head or bull horn into super, and then he got it first, and then that would have got the win. And like I was just feeling really good and like prepared for that, and that was like my introduction to like, you know, how like the big events can be, because other than that I was just going like locals, so it was cool to have like that near like upset pretty much.
That's
Like,
pretty cool.
Exactly, and like that's a big name, so like, you know, kind of like what we saw today with like Daigo
Yeah.
losing, like it's a big deal when like you can get like wins against like top players like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So yeah, so like that's like the first memory I think of like
Awesome.
that.
Last question. If you have advice to give someone who's just getting into fighting games, what would you tell them?
I would say don't take it too seriously and just have fun, because I feel like that was something I took way too seriously as a kid when I was like, you know, learning about it.
Yeah.
And like the one feeling I wish I kind of had was more like take it, you know, play for fun, because like, you know, I feel like back then especially, like, because when you're a kid, like you're so naive, you just think you could really like make a career out of it, but realizing that it's like not so easy, first of all, and then second of all, it's like, you know, you have to spend a lot of money to do it, so like, you need to have a job regardless. So I feel like just introducing people to it, like just play for fun, no matter age either. It's so inclusive, I feel that it really helps to just have like to kind of create connections while you're here, and just like, you know, enjoy it while it's around, you know, because it's good, and it's definitely really fun to do when you get like older, and like, you know, you don't like go to school, or you don't have like as many ways to meet people, especially when you want to meet like-minded people, I feel.
Yeah.
Which is the best part, I would say.
Awesome. Thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, absolutely, anytime. Thank you so much.
That's it, y'all. That's a wrap on Goml. Get on my level forever. Thanks for the interviews. Thanks for the photos. Thanks for chatting with me. We'll see you next time.